Will Biden 38% falling approval rating doom LGBTQ rights in the 2020s? President Joe Biden has experienced falling approval ratings, but almost entirely among younger voters. The largest fall has been among Gen Z and the Millennials. Millennials have shown a 19-point drop in approval since January of 2021, and Gen Z has shown a 21-point drop, bringing the approval rating among the youngest voters to just under 39%. Biden has worked harder and been more vocal in support of LGBTQ+ issues than any other president. Could his weakening support among younger voters lead to a loss of LGBTQ+ rights in the future? What does this mean?
Well, as the token Gen Z.
Yeah. I was going to say, but turn your way.
Right. So, I personally vote very much. One of my biggest voting concerns is LGBT issues, obviously. But I think that a big part of this is non-LGBT things, frankly. He has done, not a phenomenal job in some other areas that I think younger voters are especially concerned about. And I think a lot of it is a lot of younger voters kind of wanting to do more, which obviously, there is a 50-50 split in the Senate, and he can only do so much. But there's that desire that a lot of folks were hoping, a lot of younger folks were hoping for more systemic change than we've seen. We're hoping for more action on climate change and all of these other things that are big issues for younger voters that we just haven't really seen the progress that we really wanted to.
Right,
in the election.
and his recent decision, gas prices are high, but opening up drilling on federal lands is a promise that he made and now has broken.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of voters who have the environment as a concern. And yeah, I am concerned.
I think to Max's point, though, the more progressive side of the younger vote, there all seem to be, I think, statistically registering as independents. So they're not part of the primary process.
Right.
And so it's important to remember, if you are one of those people who are voting as an independent, the primary process is equally as important as the national election.
Right.
Some states, I think, allow independents to vote in the primary, but not all.
Yeah.
And the primary is important.
But we also have to, I think we have, as educated voters, even Gen Zs, everybody has to become aware of what the problem also has been. We have two senators in the Senate, Democrats, that are voting with the Republicans, Manchin and Seneca, Sinema from Arizona. That is basically sabotaging Biden's agenda. And yes, like you said, it's 50-50. If we lose these two, well, guess what? We're not going to get to pass anything. And things may change later this year. So, yes, let's be fair. He has been amazing for our community. We're going through a war in Europe. This may become a world war. So we are just talking about, serious issues here. And Biden has been stepping up for us all along. So, could things be better? Sure, but the moment is very crucial, right?
But to the point of the question, though,
Right.
is it going to impact our right? Does it have the possibility, his approval
Absolutely,
rating?
yeah.
And it does. The short answer for me would be yes.
And a lot of voters are not single issue voters, as Max was I think Max said, yeah.
I don't know what I said.
LGBTQ issues are important to me. They're probably one of the top things that are important to me. But so are women's rights, so's the economy, so's the environment, and a lot of other issues are creating concern even for the LGBT community. And, he might even be losing support, not because of his support for the LGBT community, but his lack of action or action in ways that aren't appropriate with his position. That has a lot to to do with it too.
And you know, and one of the top issues for Florida voters is actually climate change and the environment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because we have such a unique and diverse ecosystem, and that's a big thing that is really touted in sort of our state's identity is that ecosystem, and that's a big issue for voters in the state of Florida in particular, which obviously has a lot of sway.
And immigration, let's face it, immigration is an important issue here.
Right.
It's an important issue for me too. Like you know, my main, you know, issue will be the LGBTQ protection, but I have other concerns, you know.
Right.
Immigration is one of them, education is another one, you know, things like that. Yes, I'm not a single issue voter, but to put Biden almost to the same level of Donald Trump in the approval rating.
Exactly.
I mean, 38%.
Oh, well, yeah.
I mean, 38%. We're talking about what? 36% was Trump. 33.
No,
33?
you're talking about a specific category of people, not the general electorate. This is specific to people. How old are millennials? The oldest.
It's like 40.
So 40 and under. This is
30 to 40
specifically.
And Gen Z is you know, anywhere from 12 to 25.
25.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
So I think that. I think that we all have
so
to be careful.
education, that people have to educate themselves.
And I'm
well, people aren't educating themselves. They never have, and schools aren't educating themselves.
Anymore.
I mean, you can't expect the American people to educate themselves because they don't.
And I am so worried about that. You know, to that point, like there are a lot of issues that I have with Biden. A lot of them are that is not doing enough, which obviously is not solely Biden's fault. But I am so worried about the potential of him not winning a re-election.
Absolutely,
And when you have you know, our dearest Rhonda Diane DeSantis potentially gearing up as a presidential hopeful in 2024, and espousing the most vile, you know, abhorrent things about our community. I'm not a single issue voter, but LGBT rights are frankly probably my number one.
Right.
And to see that is terrifying. And so if the option is someone like Ron DeSantis or Donald Trump and Joe Biden, I would pick Joe Biden any day.
But the problem is, and I think what this poll is getting at, is that if these left-leaning, if these more liberal voters are not energized by Joe Biden, they're not going to vote.
That's right.
They're not going to vote.
I think there's also, you know, and it could be because they're younger, they haven't been around the block a few times, but presidents can't just go into office and do blank, It's not, I mean, that was the rude awakening for Clinton when he went in there with Hillary, who was one of the most brilliant people to ever live in the White House, and her health insurance plan.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, but he tried and he couldn't do it.
Right.
And I think that was kind of a rude awakening for a lot of us who were around then and voted for Clinton, that, you know, he tried and he can't do it. So we can't have these expectations of our president that they can come in and do X, Y, and Z right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
And so anyway.
LGBTQ+ news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ+